guys, welcome to your pick a card reading. My name is Shemin. I've been a professional reader for about 5 years now, and this is my very first pick a card for YouTube. So I hope this resonates. Go ahead and leave a like and a comment and subscribe if it does. So I've got pile 1, 2, or 3 here for you. So tarot cards are the same. It's the Ethereal Visions deck, and then we've got 3 different oracle decks on top of it. So go ahead and pick one based on the artwork on the back of the card, or go ahead and pick it intuitively. If you get a really strong vibe from 1 or 2 of them, go ahead and watch those. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started with pile number 1. All right, so for pile number 1, you have the 3 of Swords with the High Priestess, the Temperance card, and then the Judgment card in reverse. The Oracle card in the middle is Align Your Life. So I'm going to go ahead and say a little mantra first, and then I'll go ahead and get started. So I'm stepping aside, I'm connecting to my higher self, which is connecting to your higher self and all of your spirit guides and entourage on the other side of the veil. Any messages that need to come through will come through, and I am just the messenger. So, alrighty guys, so with the very first card, or the main situation or thing that this reading is going to be addressing being the 3 of Swords, there's something in your life that is kind of like breaking your heart a little bit right now. So this doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship, but it very well can be. So if you're in a relationship that's not serving you anymore, you kind of find that you are hurt more often than filled by this partner that you are with. That may be kind of what this reading is about. For other people, this could be kind of like disillusioned with your job. You used to love it, but because of a couple of different things in it, it has hurt you a few too many times, and that's kind of like not an environment or an energy that you want in your life anymore. So could be relationship, could be school, could be work, could be a number of things. If you feel a little heartbroken right now, that's definitely what this is referring to. So the rest of this reading is actually Major Arcana cards, so whatever this heartbreak is that you're feeling right now is definitely something that is very important to pay attention to. I think, us in our current society, it's like we are as people are very quick to kind of like brush things off, where it's like, oh, it's okay, it's fine, it may be this way, I may not be having a great time, but other people are having it worse, so it's fine, I can like muster through this. Or kind of any of those other things where it's like we just kind of downplay our own pain in order to make it, just easier for ourselves. So it's like because we aren't addressing this pain, we don't really have to confront what's going on. Or sometimes we just don't want to recognize how bad it is because we feel like we are a little bit powerless and out of the control of the situation. But with everything, even if we don't have a ton of power, we always have some power. So if there is some little thing that you can change about the situation, I think this will provide a little bit of guidance into what you can do. So the first clarifying card over here is the High Priestess. So this is kind of like you in the situation, and this is going to be kind of more external factors. So for you right now, you have the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is, I think, a lot of people's favorite Major Arcana card to get, especially if you're into the tarot scene. It kind of fits along with this kind of like witchy vibe. But specifically, the High Priestess is this energy of like being able to see kind of like almost like the end result of something while it has just begun. So in the traditional deck, this is the very first blue colored sky card in it, after the Fool and then the Magician. And that blue sky that is behind the High Priestess is precluding to the blue skies that are in like the Star and the World card at the end of the Major Arcana. So with this card being here for you in this situation, I think you kind of know how whatever this is, whether this be your job or whether this be your relationship, I think you know how it's going to end. I think you see how if you stay in this energy, things are kind of only going to continue to get worse for you, and you kind of already know a little bit of what to expect. And also you kind of know what it's going to be like if you do decide to end this. So if this is a relationship, you kind of know the whole process that's going to take place. It's like, oh no, they're going to call me, they're going to want me back, it's going to be a whole big to-do. Or with your job, it's like, oh, you quit this job, you may have this other thing, in the back of your mind that you want to do, or you may have something lined up already, or maybe not. But, whatever it is, you kind of like know where things are headed in this situation. And so it's kind of like up to you to trust this intuitive hit that you're getting here with the High Priestess and actually follow through with it. So the other card over here is the Temperance card. So the Temperance card is in reverse. So this is external people. So this is like your job, this is that relationship, this is that, school project partner, whatever it may be. So the Temperance card, when she is upright, is all about being able to like mix and meld and have everything around you kind of cohesively working to one big picture. with that, there is a lot of temperance, you know, the namesake that goes in that. So it's like you have to temper down one thing in order to allow this other thing to kind of take its place. So in a relationship, you know, if you guys are going through a compromise, you know, you're not getting 100% of your way and your partner is also not getting 100% of their way, but you have to temper back what you want and meet each other in the middle 50-50. So with this temperance card here being in reverse, I feel like the other party in this, again, be your job, partner, anything like that, they're not doing this for you. So it's like you may be putting in the work to try and get this to work out for you guys. You know, you really want this thing to succeed. But if this other party over here is not willing to meet you in the middle, you know, this is kind of inevitable. And that may even be one of those things that you're picking up on here with the High Priestess too. The card at the bottom of this spread, which is the like underlying esoteric or like soul level reason behind why you're going through this and why this is the spread that's being shown to you today. So with every challenge, struggle, or tribulation that we go through in our life, ultimately our higher self is trying to teach us a lesson and get us to learn something on a soul level that we can take with us through our incarnation cycles. So specifically here, it is the Judgment card in reverse. So the Judgment card is the second to last major arcana card. It is the one that precludes the World card, which is the very end. So to me, the Judgment card is when the chapter kind of like closes. So it's like, you know, when you're reading a book, there's like the big climactic scene. It's like, you know, the big battle is happening, the big evil has been defeated. And that's kind of where this story ends. But after that, there's always a couple more chapters or a chapter left where it's like, you know, the kind of aftermath of everything, kind of like picking everything up, going back home, kind of like fully completing the journey when it's like this was the big climactic ending. So I feel like that's the Judgment card, personally, in my own understanding of the Fool's journey as it relates to the major arcana. And so with the Judgment card being in reverse here at the bottom as the lesson behind everything, I feel like the lesson behind this is to learn that by making this big change here, it's not going to be the end of the world. The actual scene on the Judgment card is actually from the Book of Revelation, so it is the end of the world, which I just think is amusing. So it being reversed is a very direct, this is not the end of the world, this is only a continuation of your story. You had to go through this in order to learn that sometimes things that we feel that are so permanent are actually very temporary. And by allowing ourselves to change and kind of go through this like forward momentum process, that is the thing that allows us to be ourselves and to experience the things that we are supposed to experience. And so the last card that we have here is the Oracle card, which is Align Your Life, and it is saying what is not aligned or needs to change. And so for that one, I'm going to go ahead and read it directly from the book. All right, so align your life. What is not aligned or needs to change? What in your life is no longer in alignment with who you truly are? We are cyclic beings in a constant state of change, of evolution, of growth. Change is one of the only certainties in life. When you resist your cyclic nature, you may resist life and feel stuck. Many of us have learned to be who the world wants us to be, but there comes a time when it is harder to hold on to this facade than it is to embrace who we truly are, to surrender to how we have aligned and align life to a way of being, or to that way of being. If you pulled this card, you are being called to let go of who you once were or the things that you once defined yourself by, the job, the relationship, and the mask you wore, and to embrace who you truly are now, to courageously step into the person that you came here to be in full authenticity, to embrace your weirdness and your uniqueness. Perhaps you have outgrown some relationship or circumstances, and it is time to reassess and bring all the parts of your life into alignment so that they are congruent with who you truly are today. And a little inquiry is, what in your life is not aligned and needs to change? And so I think that kind of perfectly sums up what I was feeling with this over here. So whatever this situation is that is kind of like breaking your heart a little bit, that, you know, you just can't feel that same loving energy from anymore, that's probably a really good sign that it's no longer in alignment with who you are trying to become, and it's time to move on. Every step is a stepping stone along our path. You know, this thing that you are doing now was once very important to you, and that's kind of why there's this heart here in the Three of Swords. You know, the energy of this card is that this thing that is now hurting you is one that you once loved and that did hold a very special place in your heart. So by allowing and understanding, you know, that maybe it's time to let this thing go, even though it was so important to you once, that will ultimately allow this change to be a lot easier for you. So that is what I have for you guys today, pile 1, and I'm going to go ahead and move on to pile number 2 now. Alrighty guys, and I'm here with pile number 2. So before I do my readings, I always say a little mantra, so I'm going to say that and then I'll go ahead and dive into it. So thank you to everyone from pile number 1. I am now disconnecting from, oh, my cat is getting into one of my books. Alright. So, hey guys, welcome pile number 2. Before I do my readings, I like to say a little mantra, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll dive into your reading. So, I'm stepping aside, I'm connecting to my higher self, which is connecting to your higher selves and all of your spirit guides and entourage on the other side of the veil. Any messages that need to come through will come through, and I'm just the messenger. Alrighty guys, so with pile number 2 here, we've got the Emperor with the 4 of Wands in reverse, the 8 of Wands upright, the Justice card upright, and then the Oracle card is the Path, waxing crescent. So, for the first one here, so this top card is the situation as a whole, or kind of like the main area of your life that your spirit guides would like to address right now, and that is the Emperor. So the Emperor is the strongest divine masculine card in the deck. He is the counterpart to the Empress. So in the story of the Fool's journey, the Fool makes his decision that he wants to do something else. He figures out what it is he wants to do. He gets a little bit of like guidance from the Magician and then from the High Priestess, and then he goes to the throne room with the Emperor and then the Empress. So the Empress is a very soft, very flowy, very loving, like kind energy to her. She almost like doesn't, she always sees the best in other people, almost to her detriment, and she doesn't provide, that little bit of like harshness or rigidity or structure that is sometimes needed for things. Whereas the Emperor, her divine, masculine counterpart here, he fully embodies that kind of more masculine energy. So he is a little bit more harsh, a little bit more factual. Rather than only considering people's feelings, he kind of is the other end where he only considers kind of the facts about a situation. And I feel like for you, kind of that is your aspect that your spirit guides want to address, is just in general your divine masculine. So that has a kind of, I want to say, specific connotation in today's times. The best way that I have to say this in readings, without kind of evoking the like gender norms or stereotypes, is like yin and yang energy. So everything has a yin and a yang energy to it, where there's a little bit of softness, a little bit of coldness, there's a little bit of hardness, a little bit of warmth, and kind of all of these other things that go along with those yin and those yang. For you right now, you're having an issue with, I believe it's the yang, I think that's the masculine. If I'm wrong about that, I will put a correction here on the screen. I will do my research afterwards, but anyway, so with your masculine aspect right now, they kind of want to address two different things. So one is going to be, this is a little bit out of alignment, and this is saying that yes, this is a very good thing for you. So both of these are in the Suit of Wands. So the Suit of Wands deals with that kind of very fiery, very passionate energy. It's like the fire in your stove that allows you to do all the things that you want to do. So it's like, the engine in the car that allows it to move forward. So for you right now, there's this 4 of Wands in reverse. So the 4 of Wands, when it is upright, is a very like happy, very joyous. It's like a celebration and a union card. With it being in reverse here, it's saying that it's like because of, I think, how much you're having to lean into your own, yang energy right now, a little bit more of that like harshness and that rigidity. Because of that, you're like not really necessarily, I think, being able to meet people in the middle of certain things. So it's like because you're being a little bit too harsh, a lot of things I think that you would like to accomplish aren't necessarily happening, because when you're trying to manifest or when you're trying to accomplish things, you need an equal mix of that yin and that yang energy to it. So it's like, yes, stand up for the things that you absolutely must have for this thing you're trying to accomplish. So let's say it's a business, let's say you want to do a massage studio and you're trying to get work, with a business partner or something, and they want it to also be a nail salon or something, and you're like, no, that is absolutely not what I want it to be. I just want it to be a massage studio. If that is your dream and that is your vision, of course, be willing to stand up for that, if that's the thing that you absolutely cannot do. If, it's like you would just be sharing this space with somebody, so it's like, you wouldn't have to do any of the nail salon things, it would just make rent a little bit cheaper and there wouldn't be any overlap between the spaces, then maybe allow for a little bit more softness in order to have this kind of more harmonious thing happen to you. And that was just an example off the top of my head, but apply that to whatever situation you're going through. See where you're being stubborn just kind of for stubbornness sake, when it doesn't actually, where it's like by agreeing to this thing, it wouldn't necessarily prevent you from doing the thing that you want to do. It doesn't have to be perfect straight off the bat. You know, if this is a goal that you're very passionate about, allow yourself to work towards it without having it have to be, you know, 100% perfect straight off the bat. The other card that we have over here, so this is the thing that it wants to congratulate you for doing, is the Eight of Wands. So the Eight of Wands is a very quick, very fast, very sudden pace energy. It's kind of like this energy of throwing javelins off the top of a, you know, like a castle wall or something like that. Once those javelins have left the hand, there's almost nothing you can do to stop them from hitting the ground here. And all of these like wands are already in motion. So for you, because of, I think, how, you know, just kind of on top of everything that you have had to be in order to get yourself to the place that you are right now, you know, you have been the energy propelling you forward for whatever it is that you are trying to do. So it really wants to congratulate you for actually buckling down and doing this thing. It's just saying if you want this to happen even faster for you, or you would like this to happen, you know, just at all, you do need to incorporate just a little bit of that softness. So the last card that we have here is the Justice card. So this card at the bottom is kind of like the lesson or reason behind why this is happening to you. So with every challenge, every struggle, every positive thing that happens in our life, ultimately our higher selves are trying to teach us things. You know, it's trying to teach us lessons, it's trying to get us to grow and evolve and expand our consciousness on our three-dimensional levels. That way our higher selves can also grow and expand in those same ways as well by working those things through us. So ultimately your higher self is trying to have this Justice card here. So the Justice card is all about balance. So, you know, there are the Libra scales down here at the bottom, which symbolize that cosmic balance of things. And so ultimately, that's what your higher self is trying to teach you right now, is balance. I'm feeling a little bit of like almost irritation right now as I'm saying that. So I feel like there's somebody out there who like, they probably hear that a lot where it's like, oh, you just need to be a little bit more balanced. And I feel like for these people, it may be a little bit frustrating, or this one specific person that I'm feeling, I feel like this may be very frustrating for you because it's almost like always just left at that, where it's like you need more balance and nobody ever tells you kind of like the more specific details for it. Kind of what I'm hearing right now is that if this is an issue in one area of your life, this is an issue in a lot of areas of your life. So it's like with it being a little bit more broad, there are a lot of practical applications that this can apply to you. That's not going to be so you need better balance in your relationships and you need better balance in your work-life balance or anything. I think it's kind of a lot of these different areas, and it's like up to you to kind of find those more specific notes and details on that. So specifically though, this reading got into the specifics of needing a little bit more softness and divine feminine in that balance for you. So start doing that. I think as you start to incorporate a little bit more softness and compromise into your day-to-day life, you may kind of find the areas that you are needing to apply a little bit more balance to. So that is what the tarot cards have to say. The last card I have is the Oracle card, which is 8, the Path, and I'm going to read that from the book. All right, so the path. So the way is open for you. The path is illuminated. Begin the journey now. Respond and take action. We must be courageous and move forward. And the affirmation is, I am open and responsive to the opening of the way. So when we accept where we are, acknowledge what needs to change to grow and begin to love ourselves more completely, the direction of our lives begins to change. We often decide we want to follow a more authentic way for ourselves, and our desires become more aligned with the needs, wants, and values of our true selves. Imagine we are lost in a dark forest and can hardly see. There is no visible path, and every way looks exactly the same. We feel burdened by shadows and are not sure we should even move because we are so paralyzed by fear and uncertainty. Then, the sunshine somehow breaks through the clouds and the leaf canopy, and there ahead is a path, illuminated in golden light. It is clear now, the direction we should head. The path is not only visible, but it is inviting us forward, and so, instead of just standing there, we can't wait to step on it and move forward. The path is lit, and now is the time to walk upon it. And a little stone or metal to work with in the book is pyrite. So I also work at a crystal store, so the specific energy for this is also very good with rhodonite. So rhodonite is really good for helping to discover your life path as well as stick to your life path and discover hidden talents and kind of those sorts of things. So that applies specifically to the kind of like oracle card in the middle here with balancing that's coming up here. Snowflake obsidian is good for balancing the energy between your mind, body, and spirit. Good for balancing energy across multiple things. Also working with pink tourmaline. So green tourmaline is good for a divine masculine aspect of love, and pink tourmaline is good for the divine feminine aspect of love. Because you're trying to work a little bit more on your divine feminine, I think pink tourmaline would be really good for you. So that is what I have for you guys today. Go ahead and leave a like and a comment if this resonated, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. See ya. Alrighty guys, and last one, I've got pile number 3. Ooh, all of your tarot cards are in reverse. Very interesting. So I'm gonna say my little mantra before I begin, and then I'll go ahead and dive into it. So I am stepping aside, I'm connecting to my higher self, which is connecting to your higher self and all of your spirit guides and entourage on the other side of the veil. Any messages that need to come through will come through, and I am just the messenger. So alrighty guys, so for you, you've got your situation as a whole is the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. First clarifying card is the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. The second clarifying card is the Moon in reverse. And then the lesson or reason behind why you're going through this is the 7 of Swords, also in reverse. Card in the middle is the Koi Fish, which is my favorite card in this oracle deck, so I'm excited to read that for you when I get to the end. So for the first one here, so this is the main area of your life that your spirit guides feel like you need a little bit of like work and attention to right now. It is the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. So 10 of Pentacles, when it is upright, is like this completion of an earthly cycle and kind of having everything that you worked for behind you to kind of help support you on this new step moving forwards. With this card being in reverse, when I do readings, this usually shows up as saying that you are kind of like refusing to move on from a cycle. So, you know, the entire suit of Pentacles, which I'm so glad that the 8 of Pentacles came up because this perfectly embodies it. It's kind of like the planting of a seed, watching it grow, getting to harvest all of these things, and then being prepared. So it's like because you have everything you need, you can kind of do these other things that you want to do without having to worry about your kind of bare necessities. So with this being here, you know, you probably what I'm feeling is you haven't fully completed a cycle, and so you may have you may be struggling a little bit right now with kind of like financial abundance, or kind of like, you know, feeling like all of your needs are met. And for some people, you know, I think this will be a little bit more serious, where it's like you may be living paycheck to paycheck. For other people, I feel like this may just be dissatisfaction in like a job or something else that you're going through because you haven't fully wrapped up a cycle there yet. So with the first clarifying card over here, so this is more so like you in the situation. This will be kind of external factors in the situation. So for you, you have the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. So the 8 of Pentacles, when it is upright, is this energy of a blacksmith. So it's putting in the like hard, consistent work in order to accomplish things, where when a blacksmith is smithing a sword, you know, it is not the last blow of his hammer is not the thing that made that sword, but it is every blow of the hammer up until that point. So it's like you couldn't have this, you know, wonderful, amazing thing if it were not for every single hammer stroke that went into the making of it. With this card being in reverse here, I feel like there is like one thing specifically that it's like, in order to finish out this thing, you know, I feel like you're in the home stretch of something, but you just like, there's one thing in particular that it's like, you can't skip this work. You need to be able to kind of sit down and dedicate, you know, a specific amount of time and attention and energy to getting this thing done. Once you do put in this work and effort and energy for it, I feel like it will feel a lot less daunting than maybe you have built it up to be in your mind. I feel like for some people here, this is specifically pointing to a little bit of procrastination. So it's like, you know what it is you need to do, but you've been putting it off for so long now at this point that it's like the seeming just thought of doing it is so unbelievably daunting to you. Go ahead and start small. So if this is like, you know, you want to set up a side business, or like, you know, work for yourself rather than working with a company that you've worked with for a while, you know, if you want to have an Etsy shop or something, you have to be willing to make those first couple of products to put on there to kind of get everything going, get your staples and stuff. So with this, you know, even though it is in reverse, you know, with everything being reverse, I feel like if you do work on this, like if you turn this upright, this will ultimately turn upright eventually for you, and you will have that completion of a cycle. The other card over here is the Moon card in reverse. So this is kind of more external factors as it relates to the situation. So take a breath. I'm running out of breath here. All right, so The moon card, when she is upright, is all about being able to pay attention to the natural like ebb and flow and like natural rhythm of things. So it's like the moon affects our tide. We get our months ultimately from the moon. We used to have 13 months of 28 days, and then, you know, the Romans and stuff had to mess it up, and they added, you know, June or July and August. And so because of that, we kind of lost our connection to the moon, totally besides the point. But the moon card being in reverse here is saying that it's like, I think the timing for this hasn't necessarily been quite right for you yet, which may be why you're kind of being met with a lot of obstacles when it comes to trying to do this thing. Or maybe you get a ton of motivation and you come home one day and it's just like, you know, you really want to do this thing, but for whatever reason, it's not quite working out. The thing that I'm feeling from this is you may just need to like readjust your stance on why you're doing this rather than just kind of trying to like plow through this thing. So if you do, let's say you want to start, you know, a new business for yourself or something, have your intention for this being to ultimately allow yourself to be happier more of the time rather than just a different way to make money. Depending on what you're focusing on, that kind of changes your manifestation output for certain things. So I feel like if you were to change kind of like your goal for this thing, that would kind of allow certain obstacles to kind of move out of your way for you. So that is that. The lesson or reason behind why this is being shown to you today, so why this is the spread and not all of the other, you know, hundreds of thousands of spreads that the tarot deck can give out for you, is the Seven of Swords in reverse. So the Seven of Swords, when it is upright, is about, you know, trying to take on more than you can manage. So, you know, this guy in the picture here, there are 7 swords in the picture. He's trying to carry all of them. Reasonably, you can only carry 2, you only have 2 hands, but he's trying to carry them in his cloak. Because of that, there's these couple spilling out onto the ground. You know, he's got a good handle on this one here. So this card, like I said, is about trying to take on more than you can comfortably manage. With this card being in reverse here, kind of the thing that I'm feeling is it's not that you're trying to do too much right now. I think in general, you have this kind of like feeling of exhaustion a lot of the time. And kind of what I'm feeling from this is that there's a lot going on around you without you actually doing a lot, if that makes sense. So rather than you trying to comfortably hold all of these swords, it's almost like other people are trying to like hand you these swords or like get you to try to hold on to these swords. So it's like, specifically, I'm feeling a lot of like social media stuff going on right now. So it's like there may be a lot of drama in like certain TikTok communities you're in, people you're friends with on Facebook, or kind of any of these other things. I feel like there's a lot of people who are doing a lot. And so by constantly filling up your psyche with all of these things that other people are doing, it's like you're making yourself exhausted because you're constantly consuming those types of things, if that makes sense. So if you were to maybe like limit your consumption of stuff like that, that would actually give you the energy needed to put in the work for this thing that is a lot more pertinent to you and your own personal cycle rather than keeping up with these other people's cycles going on. So there's that. The card in the middle is the Koi Fish, which, like I said, is my favorite card in this deck. So I'm going to get the book out and read that to you now. All right, so the Koi Fish. So in Japanese myth, the koi fish swims upstream along the Yellow River. Once it conquers its many challenges and reaches the river's head, it transforms into a majestic dragon. The Japanese view the koi fish as a symbol of aspiration and good fortune, which is manifest through determination and hard work. You have the power to transform your life. And the meaning is you are ready to transform, good prosperity and wealth are on their way. So whatever it is this big hurdle is that you have been avoiding doing for a long time, whatever it is you've been procrastinating on, go ahead and just, do yourself the due diligence of just trying it once. Go ahead, plan out, do it tomorrow, do it tonight even. Set a plan for yourself to just work on this thing for 1 hour. If you can't do 1 hour, go ahead and do 30 minutes. Set a small time frame for yourself. So rather than in your head having to tackle this whole big monstrous task, you're just working on it for an hour. If you were to do that, I think you may see that this thing that you've been procrastinating on isn't nearly as difficult as you think it is. Gosh, I have a little Ganesha card on my altar right now, and he is like directing this at me specifically. I've been putting off doing my last Major Arcana video for my TikTok. I'm gonna go ahead and do that tonight probably. But with just as that applies to me, I think this applies to you guys for a lot of things. Just go ahead and sit down and do the thing you've been putting off, and I think it may surprise you. So that is what I have for you guys today. I hope that resonated. So go ahead and leave a like and a comment if it did. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.